We've heard a lot of talk from Obama and France's President Hollande saying that Donald Trump is unfit. Of course, they're talking about the fact they don't agree with him. But there's also questions about Hillary Clinton's fitness. Her fitness to be entrusted with national security secrets has been demonstrated to not be there. Joining us now is Leanne McAdoo to talk about Hillary Clinton's physical unfitness.
Right. Well, David, that's absolutely correct. Now, we saw how the word racism was weaponized during President Obama's tenure. So now we're starting to see the word sexism being used to silence any critics of Hillary Clinton. And so we're seeing a lot of these stories rolling out to just support how this is the time of the female and we've got to stop sexual harassment in the workplace. All of this in an effort to just really bring to the fore these issues, you know, women's rights and things, just like we saw with the racial tensions that have been fomenting in the country.
Oh, yeah, and like we saw with Khizr Khan, you cannot criticize this guy because he's a Muslim and he's a Gold Star family. And it's like, well, if he interjects himself into politics and he has something to say about this, and if we vet him, you know, we find out that he's an advocate for Sharia law. But you can't say that. That's politically incorrect. And you can't criticize Hillary Clinton's policies or her criminal actions because she's a woman.
Right. Or you are going to be called out as the sexist that you are. So Obama comes out last week saying that Trump is unfit. He's woefully unprepared to be president. This is while he is there promoting Hillary Clinton, okay, who has been on the wrong side of everything, okay? She supported the Iraq War up until about 2014. She didn't listen to her policy advisors there on Libya. She flip-flopped on her gay marriage ruling just a couple years ago. She was a Goldwater girl during the civil rights era, so she was on the wrong side of the civil rights movement, okay? So this is someone who has proven herself time and time again to be unfit, not to mention that she has put the national security at risk with her private server. More on that later. But now they're already starting to say, how dare you say that Hillary Clinton is physically unfit for the presidency? There was a photograph that surfaced over the weekend. This had been taken a few months back in February or January, and it was, you know, all over conservative media, showing Hillary Clinton having to be helped up some stairs. And of course, this should be putting Hillary Clinton's health at the front of the 2016 campaign. But people are saying that you're sexist if you're doing that. Cokie Roberts came out this weekend on ABC's This Week saying, you know, Trump calling her unhinged is just code word for we shouldn't elect a woman. So they're already saying, like, you can't even question her mental fitness or her physical fitness, but it's not sexist. Let's look back. 2008.
But they make the same statements about Donald Trump. They question his political fitness, his mental fitness to be in office, but it's okay because of partisan politics is really what's going on.
There's actually a petition going around demanding that Trump undergo a mental health test. And, you know, so you have these media outlets kind of jokingly saying, well, we're going to go ahead and support this petition. So they want Trump to undergo mental health fitness, but not someone who has proven herself to have to flip-flop on so many major things that have completely devastated the Middle East, for one. But back in 2008, they were questioning John McCain's health, okay? So in May of 2008, John McCain's doctors give him a clean bill of health. But months later, every month after that, McCain's age and past health problems could be an issue in the presidential race. McCain faces questions on age, health. Questions linger about McCain's prognosis after skin cancer. So he was diagnosed with skin cancer, which if you're going to have a skin cancer, you might as well get skin cancer.
Yeah, it's not going to affect your judgment anyway whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not like a massive strike
Blood
on the head.
clot, okay? So he had gotten skin cancer in 2000.
Wow.
Of which they cut it out. He was fine. You know, good for him. It wasn't recurring. But this is now 8 years later, and they're using that against him. Hillary Clinton had a fall in 2012 where she got a massive blood clot on her brain. She is taking Coumadin, a blood thinner, to this day, which you shouldn't really have to do that. I mean, that just shows that she is a high-risk patient if she's consistently on this blood thinner every single day of her life for something. So this was just about 4 years ago.
Maybe
and
another reason why she wears the Chairman Mao suits, because that can also cause you to bruise very easily. It's a very telltale thing. I know because my dad had to take Coumadin after some blood clot issues, and he would bleed very profusely if he was ever cut or nicked, even with anything, and he had massive bruises on his arms usually because he kept working.
Wow,
So,
that is a very interesting conspiracy theory. So you mean she's not just dressing for the job she wants?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
that or it's the grampers that she's wearing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
well,
know,
and this is, the same outfit that she was going to blame on that really long bathroom break that she took during the debate. Women take longer to use the bathroom or whatever, but I guess it's just all the buttons that she's got to do on that Chairman Mao suit. But of course, people are saying, no, there was some underlying health issues. She gets very dizzy when she gives a long speech. But CNN bashes these as conspiratorial questions about her health. So it's okay to ask about people's health when they're of a certain age and they're going to be put into the most powerful position on the planet, but not when it's
these are two of the
Hillary
oldest
Clinton.
people that we will have elected to the presidency.
Exactly.
Okay? They're essentially the same age as Reagan.
Yeah, she's only 2 years younger than John McCain was when he was being questioned about his health and will he make it through his first term? So CNN is attempting to dismiss these questions, asserting that these photos show her being helped up the stairs, that she was just struggling because she had just slipped and fell. And then, so this is CNN's Brian Stelter saying, that how dare Matt Drudge do this? He's taking his photo out of context. But he doesn't go on to explain how someone slipping as they're walking up the stairs could be evidence of them having an issue walking.
I remember when they did this with Gerald Ford. I remember when Saturday Night Live did it. They totally destroyed the man because he slipped on some plain steps at the time and because of a golfing accident. And so you had National Lampoon and these Mad Magazine, they had him sticking an ice cream cone on his forehead. I mean, everybody was making fun of him, and they laughed the man out of existence. Not that I'm a Gerald Ford supporter, but that was the way the Democrats came after Gerald Ford and the comedians who are part of the Democrat establishment.
Right. And we can't even ask these very serious questions. People say, well, why does it matter about her health? When you have to make decisions with your brain, it really matters if you have blood clots on your brain or a physical impairment that causes you to be dizzy, to feel faint, to have uncontrolled facial seizures there. And, people just are pushing this to the side saying, we need our first woman president. But CNN fails to point out how we have really high-level federal agents saying that no, they have plenty of people that have worked on her team saying it's not just the fact that she has issues walking and she needs help, but she also has to sit down and rest a while after she gives a speech. She gets very dizzy, very fatigued to the point where she gets very pale, sweaty, disoriented. We know Huma, her aide there in the email, said that Hillary is often confused, so you have to explain things to her over and over again.
That was amazing.
So let's make her the most powerful woman.
Who is often confused.
Yes, she's often confused. She doesn't know how to use technology, so she sets up this private server.
And we just had these two meltdowns at the end of the week where she said she's going to raise taxes on the middle class, referred to Donald Trump as her husband, that type of thing. Even though everything that she does is carefully scripted and telepromptered for her, she doesn't speak off the cuff like Donald Trump does. He'll go in and speak for an hour and a half, incredibly long time, just off the top of his head. And a lot of people said, well, he needs to focus on the issues he wants to talk about, but they're not talking about how he can't manage to conduct a conversation over that period of time.
Right. And they want to just pick apart certain things, saying he's mentally unfit, not pointing out the fact that he is a wildly successful entrepreneur, billionaire. So how do you do that if you're mentally unfit? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Of course, we've seen Hillary Clinton's coughing fits, which is a side effect of a lot of the drugs that she's taking, Coumadin, the antihistamine. These are things that a lot of people report having a dry cough, and the older you get, the more susceptible you are to this side effect of this dry cough. And John Rappaport points out that, hey, this is a rat poison, okay, warfare, and so we're going to elect someone who's basically taking rat poison every single day. It can be totally lethal, giving you, destroying
dangerous.
your liver. But Martin Shkreli, I don't know if you remember him, he was kind of the most hated man on the internet for a while. He was the pharmaceutical exec that raised the price of an HIV drug about 1,000% overnight. Well, he came out, he's actually created a drug for one of the symptoms, the freezing gait that Hillary Clinton seems to exhibit. And so he came out saying, I've got a 15-year background in drug discovery and pharmaceuticals, and she has pretty unmistakable signs of Parkinson's disease. And that a stroke or concussion would not explain the symptoms of freezing gait, as well as her making those perplexed facial movements. That is a Parkinson's-induced dyskinesia. So it's a classic symptom. So this is, someone in the industry coming out and putting it on the line, saying that these are the symptoms that he would say it.
Very interesting, because, all this stuff about just be quiet. She's going to be the first woman president. And if she has major health issues, it's going to be McCain, who's going to wind up being the president.
Exactly.
So you're not going to get a woman in that job. Now stay with us when we come back. We're going to take a look at some of the things that were revealed at the hacking conference in Las Vegas. You'll be amazed what they can do to you. We'll be right back.
Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex.